Hello, NBA fans. Every day we have news about the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm a Lakers fan and I ask for your help by subscribing to the channel and giving me your thumbs up. DeAndre Ayton was signed by the Lakers to be the starting center, and it was expected that he would return to playing at a high level. Ayton started well, but over time he has become lethargic, seems unmotivated, lacking energy and explosiveness, and this has led fans to ask for the signing of a new center. LeBron James is showing signs of irritation with DeAndre Ayton, due to his lack of competitiveness and lack of drive. Given an opportunity, the Lakers will certainly trade him. Another player whose days are numbered on the Lakers roster is Bronny James, because at no point has he been able to develop a level to participate in the rotation. And the Lakers' rotation is weak. Even so, Bronny James has not pleased coach J.J. Redick, therefore he will be traded this year. LeBron James had that look on his face that suggested to many he wanted the Los Angeles Lakers to trade DeAndre Ayton. The moment came during a timeout in the second quarter with 8:52 remaining when the Sacramento Kings were leading the Lakers 38-31. As Ayton was talking with one of the coaches while resting on the bench, cameras spotted LeBron staring Ayton in a bad way. It almost feels like he was not pleased with Ayton's attitude and his lack of energy on the court. The comments section under this post was filled with the same interpretation. "Off my team," one fan wrote. "Only a matter of time," another fan added. "Even Ayton know his time there is coming to an end," one fan reacted. "Bron bout to trade that man," one fan posted. The game against the Kings ended with a 124-112 loss. LeBron recorded 22 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Meanwhile, Ayton posted a double-double with 13 points and 13 rebounds. LeBron James is known for such looks. James is known for such looks and the trade that follows. According to Hoops X page, when he gave such looks to superstars like Kyrie Irving, Dwayne Wade, and Anthony Davis, they were eventually traded off his team. Ayton, for his part, is struggling over the last few games. The former number 1 pick started the season well, registering at least 20 points and 10 rebounds per game in his first 23 games. However, since December 14, he has not been able to log even one such game. On the season, he is averaging 13.9 points, on 67.9% shooting, and 8.5 rebounds, which looks respectable but is declining. Not to mention the controversies he finds himself in for his lack of enthusiasm and attitude. He said that he can't make shots for himself. Even Lakers head coach J.J. Redick has spoken about the same. If these issues only pile up, a trade is really not that far away. The Lakers have signed another guard to provide the stability their current players have been unable to. Los Angeles Lakers guard Bronny James has received new competition for minutes after the franchise signed G League star Kobe Buffkin to a 10-day contract. It's a move that could ultimately prove inconsequential, but Buffkin is a former first-round pick who has dominated for Los Angeles's G League affiliate. In a sudden turn of events, James has gone from sitting on a hot seat to having to fight for already scarce minutes during his second NBA season. The Atlanta Hawks selected Buffkin at number 15 overall in the 2023 NBA draft, but a shoulder injury ended his sophomore season prematurely and signaled the beginning of the end. Buffkin was traded to the Brooklyn Nets, but even with a strong summer league behind him, was ultimately let go. Buffkin has since been dominating the G League with the South Bay Lakers, thus earning a 10-day contract with Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Lakers are signing guard Kobe Buffkin to a 10-day contract, sources tell ESPN. Buffkin has starred for the Lakers' South Bay NBA G League affiliate and spent some time with the Grizzlies this season. Perhaps it will prove insignificant in the long run, but James has new competition for minutes for at least the next 10 days. Bronny James faces new hurdle after Lakers sign Kobe Buffkin. The Lakers selected James late in the second round of the 2024 NBA draft. As such, expectations should have been tempered given the unfortunate fact that most players who are drafted in a similar range never carve out a consistent role in the association. Whether fair or foul, the truth remains that James' familial ties have created massive expectations in the basketball community. Pushing past the factors that don't actually dictate a player's quality, James has struggled to consistently crack the rotation. He appeared in 27 games and averaged 6.7 minutes per appearance as a rookie, and while he's already played 20 in 2025-26, his playing time is up only slightly to 7.5 minutes per contest. Even with Gabe Vincent missing 20 games and Austin Reeves absent from 14 and counting, James has been unable to establish himself as a player with nightly value. That's opened the door for Nick Smith Jr. to nearly double James in minutes per game at 14.9. If Bufkin even comes close to tapping into his potential, then it's fair to question if James will be able to receive any playing time at all. It's entirely possible that Bufkin will play his 10 days with the Lakers and head back to the G League, but the pressure on James has reached a new level as his role and playing time are suddenly at risk. Lakers face uncomfortable reality with Dalton Knecht's situation. The Los Angeles Lakers are being pushed towards an uncomfortable realization with Dalton Knecht. What once appeared to be a calculated first-round swing on shooting upside with the 17th overall pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, is now drifting towards a harsher conclusion. One defined by stalled development and shrinking league-wide value. At the beginning of January, head coach J.J. Redick publicly backed Knecht, urging patience and focusing on overall impact rather than box score production. The message was clear: the Lakers were prepared to give the second-year guard a genuine runway to prove he could impact games beyond his shooting. Since then, the results have done little to validate that approach. Lakers' patience has yet to be rewarded. Ahead of the Lakers' first game of 2026 against the Memphis Grizzlies, Redick confirmed that Knecht would be reinserted into the rotation after falling out of it earlier in the season. "Yeah, Dalton will get a look tonight and he'll get a look for the foreseeable future," Redick said, via Lakers Nation. "Play hard. That's the biggest point of emphasis for him all season. He's not going to be judged on whether he makes or misses shots, but that helps. When you go through a stretch where you feel like your team isn't playing hard, you gotta play the guys that are consistently playing hard. I think he's had some really good moments already this season, and I think for him, probably the next week or so, he's gonna have consistent playing time and consistent opportunities." While an offensive spark would have been welcomed, Redick made it clear the priority was effort, defensive engagement, and contributing within the flow of the game. Those opportunities, however, have largely gone unanswered. Since that point, Knecht has logged just 80 total minutes across 6 games, an average of 13.3 per night, the second lowest mark among regular rotation players on a roster already thinned by injuries to Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and Gabe Vincent. Trade fallout and a shrinking margin for error. The situation took on added weight following Knecht's involvement in a failed trade with the Charlotte Hornets last season. The deal collapsed and so did his confidence and offensive rhythm. Since returning, Knecht's role has diminished, and league perception has followed. According to Dan Woik of The Athletic, the 24-year-old doesn't have trade value, with the Lakers' only truly valuable trade asset being a 2032 first-round pick that is viewed as untouchable. A first-round pick earning $4 million a season is typically expected to serve as either a contributor or a flexible trade chip. Knecht currently offers neither, placing the Lakers in a difficult position. The franchise has faced a similar outcome before. Their previous 17th overall pick, Jalen Hood-Schifino in 2023, also struggled to establish himself at the NBA level despite flashes in the G League. The Lakers eventually moved on, trading him to the Utah Jazz, and he now continues his career on a two-way deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. There's still one encouraging point for Knecht. In his lone G League appearance this season with South Bay, he erupted for 30 points against the San Diego Clippers, shooting 10 of 17 from the field and knocking down 6 three-pointers while contributing across the board. The contrast between that performance and his NBA struggles suggests additional developmental reps may be necessary, even if the Lakers' timeline doesn't readily accommodate them. That leaves the organization facing a stark choice if a trade suitor isn't found. To continue searching for minutes that may not exist, or lean into development away from the NBA spotlight. The Lakers don't need to make a final decision immediately. But the longer this trajectory continues, the clearer the outcome becomes. Connect is no longer just fighting for a role, he's fighting to remain part of the Lakers' future, and perhaps his NBA future altogether. Lakers reportedly pursuing trade for Bulls 3 and D wing. As the Los Angeles Lakers scour the market for a 3 and D wing ahead of the February 5 NBA trade deadline, a new name has entered the mix. Per Forbes' Evan Sidery, Isaac Okoro has emerged as a Lakers trade target, with the Rob Pelinka-led front office reaching out to the Chicago Bulls to discuss a potential deal. The Lakers have checked in with the Bulls during trade season on Isaac Okoro, Sidery reported on December 12. After being traded from the Cavaliers for Lonzo Ball, Okoro has started every game for Chicago. Okoro's $11 million salary can be matched with one of LA's expirings plus Dalton Connect as a sweetener. The Lakers have checked in with the Bulls during trade season on Isaac Okoro. After being traded from the Cavaliers for Lonzo Ball, Okoro has started every game for Chicago. Okoro's $11 million salary can be matched with one of LA's expirings plus Dalton Connect as a sweetener. Lakers trade target, Isaac Okoro. Okoro is averaging 8.6 points, 2.7 rebounds, and 1.3 assists in his first season with the Bulls, while making 1.03 per game at 32.6%. While those numbers don't jump off the screen, Okoro, with his 6'9" wingspan, tracks as a solid perimeter defender with the ability to guard multiple positions. This season, he has held MVP candidates Cade Cunningham, 2 of 10 FG, to 20%, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 5 of 12 FG, to 41.7% and Jaylen Brown, 3 of 8 FG, to 37.5% shooting as the primary defender across various Bulls games. He's also done a number on ex-All-Stars such as Darius Garland, 4 of 10 FG, and Klay Thompson, 1 of 6 FG. Lakers likely to make small move. A move for a player such as Okoro makes perfect sense for the Lakers, who are reportedly hesitant to part with their only tradable first-round pick, 2031 or 2032, unless they can land the more coveted Herbert Jones or Trey Murphy 3. However, since neither of the New Orleans Pelicans wings is said to be available, the Lakers could make a very small move using the expiring contracts of Gabe Vincent, $11.5 million, or Maxi Kleber, $11 million, to make a move around the edges, per Clutch Point's Brett Siegel. It is very reasonable to believe that the Lakers will make a very small move at the trade deadline using the contract of either Gabe Vincent or Maxi Kleber before operating with an abundance of cap space in the offseason to shape their roster however they'd like, Siegel reported on December 12. The Lakers were previously expected to aggressively shop the expiring contracts of Vincent, Kleber, and Rui Hachimura, $18.2 million, and a first-round draft pick with hopes of landing a more marquee name. However, Hachimura has a limited market, per Siegel. Another problem the Lakers have is that there isn't a market for virtually any of their players, including Rui Hachimura on an expiring $18.2 million contract. With limited options out there, the only way to move some of their contracts, both expiring and non-expiring, would be attaching draft picks, which Los Angeles doesn't have many of. Okoro has one season remaining on the 3-year, $33 million deal he signed with the Cleveland Cavaliers last year. His budget-friendly deal makes it possible for the Lakers to maintain their cap flexibility for 2026 and 2027, when they reportedly have ambitious plans to pursue a superstar to pair with Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. Lakers will never contend until Rob Pelinka stops repeating the same mistake. Expecting average or inconsistent defenders to become elite is a recipe for disaster. Pittsburgh Sirs. The Los Angeles Lakers will never get over the hump until they truly invest in defense. It's a harsh reality that boils down to the simple fact that Los Angeles is tasking veterans with performing above their baseline in order to mask self-created flaws and weaknesses. Until Rob Pelinka stops expecting players with questionable defensive track records to pick up the slack for the stars who share the same distinction, the Lakers will never truly contend. The list of players whom Pelinka has gambled on being able to change core elements of their reputations has grown beyond reason. Each have admittedly been better than advertised, but none have been truly elite defenders, particularly at the point of attack. The current roster includes at least 3 of said players in DeAndre Ayton, Rui Hachimura, and Jackson Hayes, all of whom are better than advertised but by no means defensive specialists. Each of Ayton, Hachimura, and Hayes have been positioned at some point in their tenure to take on the role of a defensive specialist. Ayton and Hayes have been asked to anchor the defensive interior, while Hachimura has been positioned to thrive at the point of attack. Unfortunately, all 3 have been miscast. Though there are fair criticisms of the players themselves, the fact remains that the Lakers are expecting them to become what they've never been before, and the results are thus inevitable. Lakers keep signing average defenders in hopes they can be elite. Had the Lakers constructed a roster that's flush with quality defenders, perhaps the aforementioned trio wouldn't be singled out. They could thrive in a culture that's built on defense alongside players who are strong enough on that end of the floor to accentuate their strengths and even mask their weaknesses. For a Lakers team that insists on building around a big 3 who all struggle on defense, however, Pelinka's insistence that average defenders can become great is destroying their title hopes. Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves need to become at least average defenders if the Lakers hope to contend. That much is unavoidable. Even if that were to transpire, however, the lack of players who truly excel at the point of attack and along the defensive interior remains a pressing issue. Rather than hoping that quality players can become elite in their respective roles, Los Angeles must stop forcing itself to rely on overachievement. Lakers' neglect of draft, importance of cap space crushing its dreams. One of the primary reasons the Lakers have struggled in this regard is how they've disregarded the value of the NBA draft. Giving up multiple first-round draft picks for Anthony Davis was one thing, but parting with others for D'Angelo Russell, Dennis Schroeder, and Russell Westbrook borders on unforgivable. It certainly doesn't help that the Lakers continue to struggle to maximize the value of the picks they've been left with, thus making it even more difficult to develop talent internally. To make matters worse, the Lakers have entered consecutive off-seasons with virtually no cap space. They've been forced to rely on minimum contracts and exceptions to bolster the rotation, thus inevitably resulting in their missing out on top defensive talent. The vicious cycle is now continuing as the Lakers peruse the trade market for a point-of-attack specialist whom they'd likely need to give up yet another first-round draft pick to acquire. Perhaps Pelinka will find a way to right this wrong, complete a trade for a high-level defender without losing draft picks, and preserve the Lakers' long-awaited 2026 cap space. In that scenario, he would be learning from past mistakes and setting Los Angeles on a better course. Until Pelinka stops putting the Lakers in the same position, however, the odds of truly contending will be painfully low as the defense inevitably continues to suffer. According to NBA writer Matt Moore, the superstar agency representing 5 current Lakers, LeBron and Bronny James, Jared Vanderbilt, Adith Hierro, and Nick Smith Jr., hopes to bring some high-flying talent to the city of Angels. I never know what to make of it when I hear that a Clutch guy wants out because they always seem to want out, until Clutch no longer represents them. But leak sources have said the super agency has expressed interest in a clutch-for-clutch swap of DeAndre Hunter for Rui Hachimura and Gabe Vincent to the Lakers or to Charlotte for Miles Bridges, Moore wrote in his Hardwood Paroxysm Substack Tuesday. The report comes 2 weeks after Rich Paul claimed Clutch never ran the Lakers, unable to escape the Clutch Lakers moniker that has followed the team since James' arrival. It also comes right after Paul suggested a bold, and ridiculous, trade proposal, sending Austin Reeves to the Grizzlies for Jaren Jackson Jr. DeAndre Hunter. The Lakers were already tied to Hunter last month, with the 28-year-old wing considered a viable backup plan instead of Herb Jones. With the 9-32 New Orleans Pelicans hanging on to Jones for dear life, it makes sense why the Lakers could pivot to Hunter, who they technically drafted in 2019. In 36 games for the Cleveland Cavaliers, Hunter has averaged 13.9 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 2.1 assists while shooting 42.5% from the field, 30.3% from 3 and 87.5% from the free throw line. After a roller coaster run as a starter between November and December, the Cavs benched Hunter again on December 17. Since then, He has put up 11.4 points and 4.4 rebounds per game on .415/.300/.946 splits. For a former top 5 pick who has resorted to a reserve role on a middling East team, it's easy to see why Hunter's reps want a change of scenery. However, the Lakers wouldn't be the answer, considering they'd downgrade from Hachimura in acquiring a poor perimeter shooter and, in the eyes of some, a horrendous defender. No matter how many diddly-dee calls Eric Collins makes, Bridges isn't the solution to the Lakers' problems either. A 26-year-old wing in his 7th year for the Hornets, Bridges has been a bright spot amid Charlotte's struggles. In 39 games this season, he's averaged 19.5 points, 6.4 rebounds, and 3.7 assists on .443/.333/.846 splits. Just like Hunter, Bridges is an astounding athlete. Yet, concerns over his inconsistent shooting and lack of defense persist. Laker fans have also pointed out that Bridges would ruin the locker room, with some mentioning his off-court issues as a key reason to stay away. So while Bridges may boost the Lakers' offense and athleticism, there are factors that are simply too hard to ignore when adjusting a roster committed to championship excellence. Lakers need Luka Doncic to improve defensively if they want to contend. Is this a Luka defensive problem or a Lakers defensive problem? I think it's all of the above. I think Luka Doncic, at this point in his career, he needs to step up more defensively. He doesn't need to be a two-way guy, but here's a stat for you. In the NBA, we have these 3D camera tracking cameras all over the player tracking cameras all over the arenas, and what we can see is that Luka Doncic is the second least mobile player in the NBA on defense. Second least. The only other guy who covers less ground per minute on the floor, defensively, is James Harden. But if you look around the list of guys who do not move a lot defensively, a lot of them are hidden on three-point shooters in the corner. Like Luka Doncic is. They are guys who are high usage, deep into their 30s, guys like James Harden, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant. Luka Doncic is not deep into his 30s, yet he is one of the least mobile, least active defenders in the NBA. And a lot of that is because they ask him to do so much offensively, and he's not a guy who's going to be guarding the opposing best player. That's why they have Marcus Smart and Van Gundy on the team. That's why they have Jake LaRavia on the team. They have 3-and-D guys from 3, and are not playing well defensively. So, they're not 3-and-D guys currently, and that's why I think it's a two-pronged problem. Is that the Lakers are built to win a championship today? In theory, because they got LeBron James, Austin Reeves, and Luka Doncic on the team. But the supporting cast for Luka Doncic is abysmal. Marcus Smart, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jake LaRavia, they shot 1 of 16. 1 of 15 from the floor last night. You can't have Luka Doncic on your team and have guys who can't shoot the ball. It's a non-starter. It's why the Dallas Mavericks went to the NBA Finals surrounding him with 3-and-D guys who are willing to hit knockdowns. Catch and shoot threes from the corner, getting kickouts from Luka Doncic. Having the ability to knock down those shots is a big reason why that Dallas went to the NBA Finals. The Lakers do not have those role players. The team, and yes, Luka Doncic needs to do more defensively. Be more active and help out in transition, not argue with officials. That's been a thing for his entire career.